Alrighty, a Thursday morning, a lot to get to here this morning, and there's all this negativity in the news. It's nice to hear some great things going on here at home or here in the region, and we've got some folks doing some great work, especially in the Titusville area. We want to welcome Jim Becker and Terry Funk to the program. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Morning, Luke.
Jim and Terry with the Greater Titusville Development Foundation. Terry's the vice president of the foundation. Jim he's just there to look pretty.
Just a board.
You're just a board member. Of course, you're involved with some other things, and maybe we can talk about that with the Oil Fest around the corner. Some things that you guys are working on or things happening downtown. Okay. We'll do that a little bit later on. But first, there's a lot going on with the Greater Titusville Development Foundation. Terry, this is something that sort of came together in the last, it feels like a couple months, but it's been something that's been in the works for about a year or more. Yeah,
Jim talked to me and some other people that we had just some concerns about maybe that the community just needed a shot in the arm. And I think a lot of us kind of felt that way. There really was not a conduit by which people could give directly to Titusville and help fund projects for the downtown area and the region. And really, it started to come together. And then, of course, the fire to Town Square just kind of to seem to accelerate the need for us to get involved and for us to start to move forward. So I would say that we're moving at kind of a slow pace, and then all of a sudden that just picked up the pace for us.
Yeah, it's funny how a terrible situation like Town Square happens and the community just rallies, and not like 2 years later. It seemed like while it was going on, everybody was standing there saying, "What can I do?"
Right.
Jim, talk a little bit about that part of it.
Yeah, it was. It was quite a day and quite a few interesting months that followed. But you're right. The theme of everyone standing around the night of the fire was, "What can we do? How can we get involved? How can we help?" And at that point, we really didn't have answers. We were still trying to get our feet underneath us as an agency. This foundation was put in place months before that because we had discussed the need, what we felt was a need for the community of how do we use a 501c3 to partner with projects within the community? How do we bring together Titusville area people with Titusville area projects?
Now, part of that, because you're involved with redevelopment, people would ask you guys to take on projects that really weren't up your alley. That's not what you did. Right. So this was sort of the starting process for that, right?
Right. We're primarily built as an industrial development authority is what we're built as. So when we sit there and we have, we're working on manufacturing related projects or development related projects or a brownfield project, we're built for that. We can handle that, and we have avenues and funding opportunities that we can go to and through to package projects and put them all together. When you start getting into Fleming Park, or a piece of the trail system or trail towns and things like that we're really not built for it. We have the capacity because we have great grant writers. We have people who know how to do project management. So we have the ability to do that, but building the contacts, building the pieces of the puzzle to put it all together was another story. And the piece that was truly missing, with all of these grants, there's always a component for a local match. There's always a requirement for local money to be in the deal, and that makes your application stronger if you're applying for a state or federal grant. That gives you those extra bonus points and that kick to make the grant actually happen. We don't like just doing applications. We're not about doing applications. We want to see the end result and see the end. The funds get here, get the project done, and get everything moving for the benefit of the community. So,
Terry, I love your story, and I think it really came out and was brought to people's attention when you were Citizen of the Year a couple years ago. The backstory of you and your wife come to Titusville, which was kicking and screaming almost, and sort of okay. Well, this is a nice place just to kind of get started, and we'll move on from here after a couple years.
Actually, I interviewed here as a favor to my college advisor at Penn State, a gentleman by the name of Bus Shaner, who had taught here and called me when I was at Westchester University working on my master's and said, I want you to go to Titusville and interview for a position up there. And I'm like, Bus, where is Titusville? And boy, Bus, that's like 6 hours away. That's a long trip. And Nance and I rode up, and we fell in love with the community. We had a couple job offers to look at, and we said, well, let's go try Titusville for a couple years. And a couple years has turned into 36 years, I think it is now, and it's a great place. I mean, we couldn't have raised our family at a better town.
So it wasn't hard then when you got the call to join this.
Yeah,
this
because
board.
A lot of people have said to us since we retired, Nance just retired, well, are you going to stay in Titusville? Sure, we're going to stay in Titusville. And so therefore, I think it's incumbent upon everybody that lives in Titusville to make sure that Titusville is the best town that it can be and the best place for all of us to be. And this is a great way to be able to do that.
When you speak like that, it comes from the heart. And Jim, I'm sure you're saying, boy, great spokesperson right here. And we did a film shoot this week with you.
Yes, you did. You had a lot of fun with me, Luke.
Well, let's take a look at how much fun we actually had with that film shoot just the other day.
Okay, got it. Let me go back to my line of thought. If you're of the younger generation, you may want to go to our website, which is Greater Foundation. All right.
Let's start there.
Start talking to probably back up. Greater Titusville Foundation Development. The website is Greater.
The website is just
Titusville Foundation. Okay. Development. Greater Titusville Development Foundation.
So
TitusvilleFoundation.org. I got it. TitusvilleFoundation.org. Okay. Greater Titusville Development Foundation. It is. Titusville Development Foundation. Lynn, you don't want to stand here too long or they're going to throw a life jacket and say, put Lynn in the chair. Every time you got to go to the understudy, it's a problem. Give me what you want on that one. I'll get it right this time. Community, a great place to live. And the Greater Titusville Foundation, Greater Titusville Development Foundation. The seventh time's a charm, right? Isn't the seventh time's a charm? Here's Luke. We tried to talk to Terry Funk the other day, but found out that most of what he said was unintelligible. Is that all right? Yeah, just feed me that question again. We're going to re-edit that part.
We talked about Lynn Podensky's fall bus tour.
If you're doing nothing else this year, get on Lynn Podensky's fall bus tour. Make sure that you have bail money in your pocket and booze in your backpack.
That's excellent. It did go well, though. TitusvilleFoundation.org is the website. As it's the Greater Titusville Development Foundation. We're here with Terry Funk and Jim Becker. You guys, on a serious note now, are working on a lot of really, really good projects in town. You guys want to talk about some of the projects like the facade program?
Sure. We just wrapped up the first round of the facade improvement program. Announced it a couple of months ago, had a deadline of July 31st. We received five completed applications for 6 different facades in town. The board has received the electronic copies of all applications. They'll be reviewing them, meeting next week to select a facade to match up with the grant. But that'll be round 1. And then we're hoping to move forward with round 2 and beyond. So that's one exciting piece. The Fleming Park project is moving forward. The application is down at the state. We expect to have an answer back in September if we were successful on the grant application or not. So that'll hopefully get that moving forward late this fall. Those timing on that one could be tricky because of the weather. So I mean, we may end up waiting until the spring to get started on that if we're successful with the grant. But there's a lot going on.
Terry, this sounds like an opportunity to be in the driver's seat of maybe creating ideas for the community, but also welcoming ideas from folks?
Yeah, you know, I think, Luke, the other day, when I was trying to talk to you, I pointed out that I think on the board we have people from the education sector, the financial sector, medical. So chances are that somebody in the community has worked with one of us that's on the board, and if there's someone out there that has a great idea, we want to hear it. You know, stop and talk to us and say, you know, this is what I think that would be a wonderful thing for the town. And you know, our history is so rich. I mean, when I compare us to other towns around the area, you know, if all we had was Drake Well, we'd be far above everyone else. But you throw in Ida Tarbell and John Heisman and some of the other people that have been here in Titusville, and a lot of those were connected to the oil industry in one way or another. And I just think there's so many opportunities for us to step forward and kind of use our past to build our future.
You, I think, mentioned the other day, too, that, you know, and how many years were you in education?
35.
35 years in education. That was your focus.
Right.
Now that you're getting involved with this, you're starting to see some other aspects of the community, and you're getting really excited by it.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's very easy to get pigeonholed. And, you know, you're in your little compartment in your small area, and suddenly when you kind of step outside of that, in the first step, there's a little bit of discomfort sometimes, but in the second step, there's wonder and awe. And you say, wow, there really are some great things that I didn't even know were going on in Titusville that have been going on. And you know, hats off to Jim. He put out a great brochure a couple of years ago that, you know, responded to the idea that, well, there's nothing happening in Titusville. I think we need to update that brochure because there's a lot happening in Titusville. There's a lot of great things happening in Titusville. It's just that people don't see it on a day-to-day basis.
Jim, is it good for you to get that enthusiasm, or when somebody comes to you and says, I didn't know this was going on till now, and then you see their eyes get big because you know the ideas are coming?
If anyone's wondering why Terry was asked to be on this, this foundation
especially
board,
after seeing the blooper reel.
Yeah. Well, you should.
No, I'm just kidding.
Just saw him run an assembly.
That was on a good. that was on a good thing, Luke.
We need a couple hundred live heads looking at him.
That's right.
In an auditorium. But yeah, I mean, it is. There's some things in my job that we just can't talk about openly and publicly right at the time that they're going on, because we sign confidentiality agreements with companies that are, you know, they're creating the next widget, and they can't come out and say, hey, we're creating the next widget, because the widget won't be good for another 2 years. You know, so we know about a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and a lot of companies that are actually working hard to get some things done. But when these things are able to be rolled out, it's exciting to see. I mean, the entrepreneurial spirit in this town that dates back to 1860 is alive and well. I mean, we have a lot of people that are just creating business, reinventing their own business while they're going through the process. I mean, it's special to see these people work, and to have the board that we have in place that has the experience from a variety of different sectors, to be able to try to package and partner those experiences with ideas of things that need to be done in the community, and bring those things together with the opportunity of funding it and actually getting the projects done. I think that's fun for us. That's the fun part for us, where we have additional partners at the table.
I think, too, Jim, Luke, one of the more interesting things is the people that have lived in Titusville who've moved away, who have contacted us and said, even though I don't live in Titusville anymore, I have a tremendous passion for that town, and I want to help you in any way I can. And we've had a number of people that no longer live in Titusville that have reached out to us and say, it's important for us, for Titusville, to stay a vibrant community. What can we do to help?
It seems like all this work to get things going, it sounds like now you're sitting at the table and actually approving money to be handed out in the community. Terry, what's that been like for you?
That's great. That's the ultimate goal. When you have money over here and you have a need over here, and you can kind of marriage the need and the money and the problem all at the same time. That's a great feeling. That's what it's all about.
So what's next for you guys? Is it, how can folks find a project, or how can they recommend a project, or how can they give?
Well, one of the things we're looking at primarily this week is to get the word out there to those people returning home for the Oil Fest and reunion weekend and things like that who may not have heard about this yet. We're going to have some brochures and things available at I believe Farmers Bank at the Wine Walk on Friday night. There'll be some information there. We've started running a little bit of advertising. It'll be in the local paper, and it'll also be with you guys. And we'll actually have a big banner hanging off of the town square down there throughout the weekend, with just the website address, nothing obnoxious, just the foundation, the website. So
you don't have Bromley flying a banner on his plane around town?
I know of, unless he's out there doing that on his own.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not a bad idea.
No, get him to drive the bus around town or something.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So we're right now we're really just working on getting the word out, and hopefully we're going to have some information at the class reunion, the all class reunion. So we're trying to. We're looking for new ways to partner with groups, Alumni Association and others, that we can package these things together and bring the whole scope of the whole thing together and have one place where people can get all this information.
And of course, they can go online to TitusvilleFoundation.org. They can email. They can call 814-564-0406. And speaking of Oil Fest, Jim, in terms of Town Square, which is a huge intersection this time of year, it's great to know that the Brew Fest is back.
Yep.
They're going to be serving food down there.
Yes, the kitchen and the inside of the brewery is not done yet, but they will have a burger bar set up. The Crane Company came to me and asked how big the beer fest was, and I told him round numbers, what we kind of expect, and he says, "Well, I think we might move our crane."
It was gone this morning.
Yeah, they moved it out for this weekend. They didn't want to see anybody down there riding the crane like it was a bull, so they said, "We'll just go ahead and move our large piece of equipment out of the way." So yeah, that's the dumpsters will be out of there for this weekend. We just didn't replace the ones that were filled. We'll bring in new on Monday, and then the crane will be back in place on Monday. But,
I know it's not going as fast as you want it to go, but from the outside, it's going really fast.
We're getting a lot done. We really are, and we're at the place now where we're literally. We are rebuilding now. It's no longer demolition. It's rebuild. So we're moving along.
Terry, that's pretty exciting to hear.
Yeah, I think everyone's just kind of anticipating what things are going to look like when it's all finished and done downtown again. And it's kind of like having a Band-Aid on something, and when you finally pull it away and it looks as good as new, you're like, oh wow, that's great. So,
alrighty, guys. Jim, anything else you want to add?
No, I really appreciate the opportunity to get this information back out there especially to the returnees coming back to town this week. So.
Alrighty.
Please feel free to use any of this for the blooper roll too.
Excellent.
Okay.
We'll just keep adding to it. No, actually, there's really a lot of good things from that, and it's pretty exciting, right? Yeah, so
add television personality to your resume.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Jim Becker, Terry Funk joining us from the Greater Titusville Development Foundation. Again, visit them at TitusvilleFoundation.org or call 814-564-0406. News is next.